Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend. So, a little slow start here. This SPY chart, yours probably has what mine had too, which was a tail on the bottom of the bar, because I see it in the TC2000 platform, and it was on this one. In this platform, I was able to make an adjustment and put what the bar actually is. So, if you're looking at your spider chart and the daily chart, and it's got a bottoming tail bar, it's erroneous. And this is what it looks like, because that's what SPX looks like. So there was a gap up Friday and things went nowhere. Back and forth after the big ugly gap and crap reversal bar. So which way do we go from here? It's in an uptrend. It could be a red bar ignored. Now it is up near this 460 area, which is a sticking point. But the uptrend could take it higher. We just got to see if it could, where it's going to go on which side of this red bar. It's just in the middle, and you can see is right now it's trading near the top. So based on what we call our factory work, when we see a red bar like that, we just eyeball the middle of it. Something you can put a horizontal line in it. And what we want to see is prices stay in the lower half, and if it's really bearish, the lower third. And, based on the economic news on Friday, right? So this day, things were looking obviously more bearish with the news. And then on Friday, it was like, oh, it's not so bad. here's some better news. And it gapped up and then it went nowhere. So can it get above the high of the red bar? Can it get below the low of the red bar? Which way are we going to go? It is too extended. I mean, it did have this little congestion area there, and then it went higher and it had this little support area there that it created some support. So this becomes a really important level to stay above, since it had a resting period, and now we got this red bar there. So we're kind of like in the middle of no man's land, just waiting to see which way things might go. And I don't know. There really wasn't much of any economic reports today, but there is all week. And then, of course, there's these earnings reports coming out throughout the week that could get things moving. And I think was it Apple and what other big one is Thursday after the close. So we got all week before, those big ones, those other big ones, but there are others that will come into play during the week. But just from looking at the chart, can we get above the high of the red bar? Close above it, right down below the low of the red bar, close below it, and then we see where we go from there. Futures. It's sideways. And one of the things I mentioned in the weekend video was, if you just look at this on a line chart, take the candles away, I mean, just eyeball it or put on a line chart, and it's just okay. It just moved up and it made a slightly little closing high, and it's the same thing on SPY. If you look at it, you just take that candle out of the way. Well, they are closed below there, but we're looking at SPX in the video, and so sometime you see these candles. Big, ugly red candles, wide range bar. We know the implications of it. You always put it in the context of the trend, support, and resistance. It is at resistance, but so far no follow through. So as I said, basically in the middle of nowhere. All right. Futures, sideways there. Reverse the topping tail bar. It's right near that pivot high. Looking at the weekly chart. Little baby tail on the top, bar by bar, some higher highs, higher lows. Okay. SPX. It's trading right above here. So we know that just based on SPY. And the distance to getting hit one way or the other at these levels is too damn close for comfort. It is for me, because if it takes out the high of that red bar, I think it's going to go there in a blink of an eye, too fast to get out of the way. And if it takes out the low of this little green bar, it's going to go down there. So, unless you're really aggressive, I think the reward to risk just isn't there, even for 0 DTE. But maybe if we get, that doesn't mean you can't do it. If it runs higher, say it gets to 4,600 and the premiums get juiced up here. It's just pre-market talking about these levels. It's just, I think, a little too tight for comfort there. Right. All right, other markets, Qs. They've been inching higher. You can say they started backing off here. They were hitting the alert on Friday's high. This bar kind of flashes and sends an alert when it starts to trigger. So just backing off of there a little bit, but big red bar, gaps up to the top, closes there. Kind of a 1, 2, 3. Kind of a, I don't know, for a better terminology, ass backwards 1, 2, 3, because a 1, 2, 3 is usually a big green bar and then an inside bar, whereas this one was a gap up. And so, a 1, 2, 3, and what we show on MT Live, it's a bullish green bar, range expansion bar, a resting day, and then it continues higher. Whereas here we got a gap up to a big red bar, which is bullish, and it held on to the gain, taking out that high. So it's just not a great situation, but it could be why I titled this morning, we're going to have a short-term top, or we maybe have a blow off where the Qs run up to 400. And if this starts to push up through here, obviously everybody's looking at this pivot high, but maybe it makes a run to 400. News aside, earnings aside, it's just technically, that's the thought. We always look at the futures, just a little tickle above there, uptrend, shallow pullback. We don't like how it comes down off of the high like that, but it had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days where sellers, bears had all the opportunity that it could have sold it and knocked it all the way back down here to major support, and they couldn't do it. And then on the economic news, it flips right back up again. So buyers are in control until proven otherwise. The weekly chart's got a little more room to go. But again, I'm looking at that weekly chart. You can see the cluster here of these opens and closes, these candle bodies, which makes clearly this an important line in the sand to stay above, especially now that we've got this topping tail ignored and this green bar. Bitcoin's moving. I see a little alert box going off. I want to take a look at that, see what it's doing. It's not up that much, but yeah, it's just banging its head on that horizontal line. So I'm just going to shift that up a little bit so it doesn't annoy me. Not doing much of anything, but overall, kind of bullish on the weekly time frame. So there's a wide range green bar, and it's in the upper half. It's just not going anywhere. So that, the daily doesn't look very good, but if it gets above 30,000 or so, maybe it starts lifting up, and down below here. So it's not kind of a pattern that is very inviting unless it starts to move one way or another, and it's not doing that. Russell, big ugly red bar, gapped up, same story, and it's up near the top of the trading range here. Not a very good situation until we get a little more information. Futures, same, just looking at the futures, the charts look a little different because of the 24-hour trading, but it's at the top of the trading range. So would appear upside is limited. Downside, well, unless it breaks, nothing to do. The Dow, that accelerated and just chopping around here up at the top of these pivots. So as we look at various markets, they're at resistance, they're stalled, but buyers aren't giving it up. So we're in a holding pattern for now, waiting to see which way things might go. Now, with that short-term cautionary comments, as we look at higher time frames, things still look pretty darn good. So I think that, I don't know what's going to give a crack. Could be the earnings, some news, I don't know, whatever. I think we'll see how it plays out, that some kind of correction is going to unfold in the coming weeks, which is going to set up a buying opportunity because there's a lot of monthly charts that look really good. So, as time goes on, I mean, we'll share them, I mean, in an empty live, but, you know, looking out into I think the latter part of the year, because look where we're in August. Sometimes August is a turning point, especially when things have been trending in one direction. And then what comes after August? The worst month of the year, historically, the worst. And then followed by, the next month, which is also bearish and for setting a low. So seasonally, we're in that period where some, historically, a correction is going to start, at some point. It doesn't mean it's going to happen this week, but, keep in mind that the worst month of the year is 30 days away, the beginning of it. Anyway, the beginning of months, historically, we talk about seasonality. The end of months, beginning of months tend to be positive, and middle of the month tends to be where you get turning points. So we'll see where these earnings play out. Well, until September, right? We got August, September, right? However many days are in August, or ahead. I don't know, ahead, as we get into September, just talking about seasonality. We'll see how things trend up. I mean, there have been Septembers where things have been okay. Ahead. Well, I'm glad you're paying attention early, Alex. The Kev caught that. So, all right. Let's look at the other things here. Part of the surprises last week was the move up in the dollar. That's up near some resistance here, converging moving averages. So that isn't giving us any insight today. It's just not really moving much at all. But I guess the big part of the big news was the fact that interest rates ripped higher. And that was what dragged the market down. And so this is one of the things to keep an eye on, that they're at the top of the trading range like everything else. And if the 10-year breaks out above this area and the dollar starts moving up, well, 2022, that's what dragged the market down. So you can see I've got my alerts above and below here to see if this starts to move one way or the other. Which right now it's just in a range, so not giving us any heads up as to the direction. And looking at the transports, they still look good. Right? Look over to the left. They're getting closer. So looking at this chart, it's a bit supportive of, hey, could you have a little blow off? You could. Now, hotels, if you look at hotels, they are supportive of that. That's one thing. And it's not necessarily transports, but you think about the ETF cruise, which is airlines, transports, hotels. It's resolving the symbols coming, taking a while, but I'm just going to move on. Sometimes it takes long. But the airlines, they've started to roll over. We'll see if these start to flip back up again. And what else? No, oil still been strong, and it's coming up to the top of the trading range. Almost everything is coming up into resistance areas. So which way it's going to go? I mean, things could, be kind of choppy, but I mean, this is a fly in the ointment of, hey, inflation is so under control. What if this breaks out and the 10-year breaks out? That's something to keep an eye on for, what could drag the markets down, considering the strength that there is right now. So we'll wait to see how it all plays out. And, I think right now, be careful not to get chopped up. Turning points are always erratic. And as uncertainty begins to grow about whether a trend can continue, but, individual plays, we'll see how they go. That's it for me. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, so Qs look the best to me, but we have a ton of bullish setups. So that happens to us a lot where I say, well, even though I'm not trading the broader market, we find individual stocks that are awesome. Q's actually pulling in right now, but I have a ton of alarms going off here on watch list items. We'll just go through them one by one. And I updated my core list yesterday. I posted it here a few minutes ago. And I'm so glad I had somebody email me asking for the updated list. I'm like, oh, let me do it right now. Thanks for reminding me. And there are a ton of them that are setting up right now. So I posted actually 2 more last night, and I got a bunch of alarms on others. So weekly, monthlies look fantastic. HMST. All right, so these are a couple earnings stocks pre-market here. Nothing going on there, no interest. ON semiconductor, it's been a beast. I mean, look at that. I mean, it kind of looked like a topping pattern here, and then 180 bear sandwich. I mean, that is strong, but nothing to do now with it. This by M46, that's a nice gap. I mean, a little excessive here, but if you can get a put spread, this reminds me of our MT Life called the turn. That's a buy setup with a bullish turn. And this reminds me of Mitch. See, here's a bullish turn. It's a buy setup with a multi-bar turn. I actually gave that as a puts. I gave a number of trades, put spreads or naked puts into earnings this week. And that's because we'll take assignment. So, we do different types of earnings trades using options. One is we speculate on buying options into earnings. One is we speculate on selling options in earnings. Either for pure speculation or we don't mind being assigned. And then thirdly, if we have a core trade, then we just typically leg into a covered call to lower the cost basis, but there's no way around it unless you're going to sell the stock and buy it back the next day. But then you're either going to be, a little happy or sad. But that's why we sell puts around them to lower the cost basis. AER, wow, look at these moving averages. This is a beautiful example. 2050 coming in here into the rising 200. That is a power stock. L gap in 64, no interest. CNA, I don't see any prints, but it could be, gap breakout, but bottom of the range, top of the range, not what we teach to extended. Sophie, I like. This was on my core long list. And there were a number of these trades that are red bar ignored continuation patterns, but now it's gapping up too much. Ideally, it would have gapped up just right to $10. And then we would put it in a 5-minute thumbnail and see how it sets up. I still like it, but the bigger the gap, the less aggressive I want to get in. Talking about gaps, let's look at this. Roku was on my core list last week, and that was a gap over a red bar on earnings, and that just blasted. Look at this, up a couple more bucks now. Crazy strength. Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I got it here in this middle chart. Actually, hey, Sam, I am, and I shorted puts on that. So Sam, I'm bidding a penny to close mine. And if I don't get filled at a penny, I'll wait 5 minutes, and then it really shouldn't be more than 2 pennies. Imchin, 30-minute high is an idea. Atlas, a Climo. I like Friday's bottoming tail. I don't like the fact that it's a greater than 100% retracement right now, but I'm going to put that in a window. Thumbnail, whatever you call it. APLS. All right, that's it on earnings. Adobe, this was in the weekend letter. It's a put spread, and there's no way we're going to get filled, so I'll be canceling that. ISRG, I have an alarm as a short watch. Stavros asking about cream shorts. Yeah, no, Adobe looked great. So you took the weekend risk and you're getting paid for it. So good job. I mean, swing trading, unless you're trading futures, but even futures don't trade over the weekend, which totally bogs my mind. I mean, leave the friggin' Globex machine on. They do for Bitcoin. Leave it on for the S&P 500 futures. Let them trade all weekend long. But my point is, if something's not trading, you got gap risk. All right, Cream. Yeah, I think I read got a downgrade. That's a failed buy setup. So sure, you can watch that for short. Ideally, it'll just bobble around for 30 minutes and then take out a 30-minute low. All right, so I guess got a big watch list here. Pelletier. This was on my core long watch list over here, but yeah, when I went through my list last night, I mean, well, not everyone, I'd say 90% of the ones just worked beautifully. And I unfortunately missed the ideal entry. But that was on my watch list. Only 4 hours non-trading fix, really? Oh, okay. Then you taught me something. I thought they shut down at 8 p.m. Friday and didn't open up until 6 p.m. on Sunday. But yeah, let's talk about it later. All right, Alpha November, got killed here on earnings. I've been watching it for ideally we'll get a turn. PCT, long idea, that's Sam's list. S block. I bought some what I call lottery tickets. This has earnings this week. I bought some 19 calls the other day, Friday. I think for 15 cents, I forget. KC, breakout, daily, weekly, monthly, whiskey. This was on my core list, and here I am kicking myself on this gap that we didn't go long over the high of these 2 bars. But look at this. That's a bullish retest. 6 p.m. All right, we'll talk about it later. I'm busy now. Let's see, YouTubers, Jose, ARK K. Yeah, all these ARK funds I like, and we've been watching them for over a year. We're in ARK. Yeah, absolutely. Got to add that to the list. ARK K. to the core list. But absolutely, we're in ARC F in our ETF trader. Looks great. ARC W I gave as a put spread today. Look at that. I mean, it's amazing. And a lot of these monthlies look very similar. But that is a beautiful inverse head and shoulder. So yeah, I like a lot of these ARC funds. ATUS, it's not a core trade because of the power downtrend on the monthly, but it's a 180 reversal. It's a watch. Sure. BHC, yeah, that's on. I think that's on my core list. BHC, yeah, that's on my core list. Here, I'll just post this again for you. That's the list I've been referencing that I updated. Greg, if you want to copy that and paste it in YouTube, feel free.
What was that, Dan? Copy paste what?
What I just put in the green room.
Oh, that list. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have YouTube open. All right, RH. I actually have as a call spread idea. It's a Climo. You know, if it takes out Thursday's low, looks like a short-term top. G, bear 1, 2, 3, GNRC. We're looking to sell puts, GNK, wide range igniting. That would be an ideal 1, 2, 3 for tomorrow. Pins, deep retracement, a 180 reversal, and a price void. This has earnings this week. I forget if it's tomorrow or whatever. Otherwise, this would have been a fantastic swing trade. I love the 180 reversal breakout here. I think I have an alarm at 1090. Let me verify that. No, I don't. So 1091. Herb, bullish turn, buy setup. Bull 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. GCO 1, 2, 3. I don't like the target on this one. I know, Sam, that was in your list. I like the setup, just don't like the target. ITT, bullish daily, weekly, monthly. Migni, nice 180 reversal. I like that over Thursday's high. Dell, this one's kind of a bull rectangle if you start your flagpole from here. All right, I'm gonna get inundated with alarms here today. We have a huge watch list. I buy her, man, I'm gonna be very busy today this morning. Dell, ARCW. Look, Dell was a short idea. SWK is a I remember that's a naked 90 put idea into earnings this week. I buy is a long idea, beautiful monthly. Herb triggered, ARCW triggered, MJ we're already in. Had a little up alarm. Clow is on my long watch. Alex, I know you've been watching that for a while, but Clow looks good. My alarm just went off. Dips we know about. Pan W alarm. Netflix put spread. Adobe we aren't going to get filled. W whiskey was a put spread. We're not going to get filled. Dunking. It has to take out Friday's high. AT&T alarm.